Okay, so today we are doing what I call the opposite of what some people want to do, and this is an FT990 Yaesu, and as you can see, I'm going into a dummy load here on my R2001D monitor, and the problem I've got 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, of course, is at the moment we're getting full transmit on 27 megs, so I thought we'd just do a very quick video on how you can put this radio back to standard and how you can get it operating on all its amateur bands perfectly, and we're going to call this removing the Mars mod on a TS990. Now you may ask why. To be very honest, this is a mate of mine who owns this radio. He will remain nameless for the moment, but he's been concerned that there's been several visits from ACMA, in his area, and he just said, "Look, I don't use this, and I'm concerned that my radio has got 27 meg transmit." And he said, "Lovely novelty, but he's very active on 20 meters and 40 meters, so of course his need for having CB radio in it is." Whilst probably handy if he wanted to go and say hello to a mate or something, he doesn't tend to do that very often. So he said, look, so what I've done, I've sold him a fully type approved 40 channel CB, which he's quite happy with, a base station, actually a lovely base station. So as part of that policy of him trying to become compliant, he's boxed up this radio and sent it to us, and we are about to show you how to do the mod. And hopefully we get it right. I mean, these were funny. And just some background. FT990s. I think I called it a TS990 before. Maybe. I might have. I'll have to check the video. I'm not going to edit it. I'm like Joe Biden at the moment. I just make bloopers all the time. So if I called it a TS990 before, my apologies, FT990. They had a few different versions in their proms. And obviously, this one was one that was probably the Australian versions were very difficult to put onto 27 megs. So this is obviously a US version or European version at a guess. Anyway, so let's get to it. Let's turn this radio off. As you can see, 1 2 3 4 5. We've got a great transmit on 28 megs there. 1 2 3 4 5. No, 1 2. Just thought we'd show that before we blow it up or something. That he did send us a perfectly working radio. And by the way, look, I don't just do this for a job. This is a very good friend of mine that I'm just wanting to help out, and he will receive no charge for doing this. This is really not that big an issue, but certainly happy to help him, and and happy to help people when I've got time. But please understand, time is something that I don't have a lot of, and that's why we haven't probably cracked along and got as many videos up as we'd like to just lately. That will change very soon. We'll be over some building projects and hopefully back to the good fun radio stuff. So absolutely. All right, let me just show you. Well, I'll turn the radio off. The card we're going to pull out, and I've already pulled the two screws out, is a control board. So 1 2 there and there, and let's just get that card out, and I'll just show you something. Okay, so a common misconception as such was that the obvious spot over here was where you did your modification, and I've seen even articles written that JP5006 is correct, but as you can see, no, none of these have been modified in any way, shape or form, so which brings me to my next point, which would be JP5002, which from memory, hang on, there it is, right down over there, see that dob of solder there, JP5002. Alright, now I should be able to do this with, we'll see if I don't kill anything in the process, but basically, sorry, I'm just getting my desoldering tool, and, oh sorry, the camera's not really very close to that, is it? Right, so we come down, hit the button a bit early then, sorry, I need to heat it up, jeez. I don't know that pad's completely clear there, hang on, just warm that up a bit. If you do get a situation like this where you're not sure if the pad's completely clear, just resolder it and put a nice bit of solder on it. Now I'm going to look through the camera here. Oh yeah, I mean, We'll find out. We'll put a multimeter on it. Just give me a tick. Okay, so JP5002 does seem to be completely clear with my Fluke multimeter. Tells me that that's fine. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of solder just between the joints still. So in theory, now, there could be other things done to this, but I doubt it. 9 times out of 10, JP5002, if you desolder that, you should be right. Let's give it a test. Okay, so here we are on 27 megs, 28 megs. Let's get it right. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're transmitting still there, so that's fine. Now, I haven't tested this yet. I do a lot of my stuff live just to show you that I make bloopers. 27985. Look at that. So won't transmit. As much as I talk into that microphone, no matter what mode I go into, I can sit there and try FM, etc., etc. Doesn't matter. Won't transmit on 27 megs. All right. So that's got us back to now. A couple of things we do test when we do this is we go, all right, has it stopped it from transmitting on, say, 6 megs? There we go. So it's taken the whole Mars mod off, and it's just making sure that it transmits just on amateur radio bands. What we might do is actually 14. We might just take the under 13 megs. And once again, yep. Okay, so that's got rid of the mod, which will make my mate a lot happier. This is, I think it's peace of mind, and I think, the question is. And we talked about this, and I said to him, mate, you're one of the straightest operators that are around the place. I can't imagine ACMA have got you on your list of people to come and visit. And he said, well, look, yes, whilst I agree with you, this is a way to make sure that, excuse me, that if the opposite's true, I can almost invite them in. They can come and see me. Excuse me. And this is one of the things with ACMA, and I agree with him, is that if you can have a shack that that at any stage they walk in and you transmit and you show them, whether you're an F call, full call, you show them that you're, working within the compliance of the Act, certainly working within the amateur radio, sort of bands, etc. I'm going to get there is some controversy over whether he could actually own this radio with the Mars mod in it. Now, look, I've had a look at the Act, and I would have to think he probably could. That's just my impression. What he's asked me to do is making sure that there's no interpretation of the Act required or no decision making that he's not going to have an issue. So for his peace of mind, that's what we've done, and we've got this thing back to exactly how he wants it, and it's cost him a whole amount of $0. Well, no, it's cost him a little bit of postage. That's about it, because I don't charge for this sort of stuff. Excuse me, but certainly a nice radio for sure. Well, we'll start getting this back together. Just a few screws and a handle to go back in. We might even put the 2 screws on the board back in too. They work better with those in. The boards stay in there better. But there you go. That's how to demod an FT990. And for those of you that think that beauty, he's just shown us how to mod, if you reverse what I've done, how to mod to 27 megs. Let me tell you, this radio here is pretty unique. 98% of FT990s in Australia cannot be modified to 27 megs without doing some severe, I won't even go into what happens to do that, but it's quite a bit of work to get one to 27 megs. So JP5002, whilst that was the way it's been done on here, is not the only thing that needs to be done to a VK version. So that's going to be the bit that I'm going to leave out, and that keeps me sort of myself even conforming with ACMA. I don't want to be on here teaching people how to do things that then ACMA are going to go, hey, listen, mate, and look, I have no issue with keeping things within the rules. There's no question about that. And there's certainly been, a lot of changes we've made, even with our own procedures, to be honest, just to make sure we conform. Anyway, all a bit of fun. 73s to you, and I hope you've enjoyed having a look at how to put one of these things back to standard, and a great old radio, the 990s. Gotta love them. Cheers, mate. All the best.